Hello everybody, this is City Scrapper. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I have a scrapbook layout process video for you, and this is a fall themed layout. I am using a grid design today, and I started by coating a piece of 120-pound smooth white cardstock with some white gesso, and then you saw me use my ruler to make 4 quadrants of equal size, and now I'm using an Echo Park leaf stencil and some Vicki Boutin modeling paste, and just putting the Vicki Boutin modeling paste in each of the 4 quadrants using the stencil. So now that I have that done, I cleaned up my stencil and I dried the modeling paste with my heat tool. And now I am adding some color to the layout using watercolor sprays. I have a bunch of different brands there. There are some Tattered Angels Glimmer Mists. There's a Prima Color Bloom mist over there on the right, that red one. There's also some art anthology sprays, and they're all great. They are all different intensities and different colors, and I just mix them all together. So on the lower right, I'm using a palette of red and yellow, which mixes together a little bit to make some orange. And in the upper left, I'm adding just orange and yellow without the red in there. Just trying to vary the color a little bit. I want it to all kind of go together, but I want each quadrant to be a little bit different. And for this layout, I found some papers from my stash. They were older, very old K & Company papers, and they were from some kind of a fall collection. I don't know the name of it, but they had this really pretty blue mixed in with all the traditional fall colors, and I really liked that. So I'm going to be including that on my layout as well. And even though I live in the Northeast and we have a beautiful fall with lots of beautiful leaves changing color, I find I don't make too many fall layouts. So I don't really have a ton of embellishments and papers for fall, but I do have my sprays, so that's an easy way to make a nice background for a layout, even if you don't have a lot of a particular season or a topic. You could always create a background with mixed media. So now I've got that green and that blue on the upper right-hand corner, and I just keep adding until I feel like it looks the way I want it to. I'm adding some yellow to mix with the green and the blue to make a more yellowish green. And I don't want all the corners to be the same. You could see on the lower right-hand corner, I didn't put as much color down on the bottom corner. I want each of the quadrants to look a little bit different and have a little character, not look too solid and too, perfect. Well, definitely doesn't look perfect, but I want there to be some variation in the way the colors cover the modeling paste in each of the corners. So as you can see, I also varied up the colors a little bit on this square. I used the yellow and I used some green and wanted it to look a little bit different. Like I said, I want all the quadrants to look a little bit different, but go together. And now adding another layer of color to the bottom. I'm also splattering some of the paint around. You can see I tried to clean up the edge there, which is pretty possible with the layer of gesso, although sometimes I will put a little bit of white gesso over areas that I don't want to have splatters, or I don't want to, if I get paint there and I don't want it. And the layers of color are really what adds I would say the depth to the colors. Watercolors are so beautiful. You could really get some beautiful effects when you layer them. Now I'm going back in with water droplets and picking up a little bit of the color. And I haven't quite figured out why on some layouts, even though I use the same basic materials, sometimes more color lifts up than others. But on this particular layout, the color lifted up pretty well, which I really liked for fall. If you think about like leaves and the way that they look, there's a lot of variation in leaves. And so I thought that would be really nice to have that kind of variation on this page. I'm just making sure I have all the water droplets up before I add some white splatters. And shockingly, I didn't go crazy with the white splatters on this one. I do add plenty, but I sometimes will apply the white splatters many, many times. So this one I just gave a little sprinkling. And again, drying. And I dry for a lot more than that. That's cut short because I don't want you to watch me drying, but I do make sure that everything is dry in between applications. So then I got the idea that I should divide the 4 quadrants by stitching, and I just used that little pokey tool and I poked holes every, I think, centimeter or half an inch, and then I just did a back stitch through the center and up and down. It really wasn't that time consuming. And here you could see those papers that I was talking about, those K & Company papers. I'm attaching them down to some cardboard, and of course, they're so beautiful that I'm using every last scrap, so I'm saving as much of it as possible. So I got those papers, and they're very thin papers. They're not like a thick cardstock. They were probably from a paper pad that wasn't super thick, so it's good to have cardboard not only for that, but also to help anchor the wavy mixed media paper and flatten it out a little bit. So I do put quite a bit of the ATG adhesive onto the back of the mixed media, and then just pressing it down, and now it lays nice and flat. So these are pictures of my daughters on Thanksgiving from a few years ago. And those letters, the larger letters, were from that Michaels. You know, they have those bins in the front, and they have some inexpensive seasonal things. So I picked those up. I saw those on sale. I thought they were so pretty. I haven't used them yet, so I was really happy to get them on a layout. I got them a while ago. And these Martha Stewart gold leaves are constantly going onto pages and coming off. Not that all of them come off. I really love them, but I have to remember that when you have that much gold in one place, it really needs to be an accent, or, you know, not the majority of your layout. So sorry about the glare on the top left corner. Those are very reflective. But I did put a lot of leaves on, and then I took a lot of them back off again because I didn't want to overdo it. I think those are beautiful, and I don't want to waste them. And also I felt like it had to be cut a little bit with something else. So I went back into my stash and looked for other embellishments I could add. And here I'm just adding some little squares behind each of the pictures, little squares of pattern paper, and just trying to make sure there's contrast. So I put the blue on the red, and colors that would stand out on top of the mixed media that's behind it. So now I'm adding those leaves. I think, and I'm not sure, I think that those are Studio Calico leaves. And I thought those were nice mixed in with those bright gold leaves. So I wanted to give the title something to rest on. So I used my scallop punch and cut out a few little scalloped lines so I could put them underneath the title. And that gratitude title, that is so old. I've had that for so long. I think that's Making Memories. It's got to be, I'm just going to say 10 years old. It could be even older than that. But I've had that in my stash for a long time, and it always feels good to use something you've had for a super long time. So now I'm just attaching everything down. I am also popping it up on that fun foam. Just gives a little bit of dimension. I feel like I've been using that fun foam. I love the height of it. It's just the right height to give some dimension but not make the page all that bulky. So there's that pretty blue color I was talking about, and I thought that would look great behind each of my photos. And I'm just assembling everything. I use ATG on the back of the foam. I think it works well. I kind of like it because you could always pick it up again and reposition your pictures. Whereas if I use glue, obviously it's kind of set there, and I do tend to go back and move things around constantly, sometimes the next day, Usually by the next day or two, I have everything where I want it. But I do find that within a certain window, I like to be able to move things around. Because if I walk away, just like when you write something and you walk away from it and you come back and then you notice all the things that you did that you don't really like, well, I find that happens to me quite regularly. So I do like to have an opportunity to go back and move things around. So I use my ATG as much as possible because usually it's repositionable. Not always, but usually. But some things just have to be glued down. So sometimes I have to glue them down and I have to just live with my decisions like we all do. And here I'm putting one of those, or I guess both of those little scalloped lines underneath the title. And then I have to attach, oh, I didn't like the way it looked. So I pulled it back up again. One of them ripped. I had to punch a new one. But I decided I didn't need two. I just wanted to have one. And now I'm even using the ATG gun to attach down that gratitude, although I probably should use some glue to attach it down, permanently. Probably some heavy gel medium would be better to attach that down. So now I'm just repositioning and futzing around with everything, but that's basically the way that I want it. I love those wood buttons. I think they might be from Freckled Fawn, some of them anyway. And then I'm not sure what the other ones are from. The ones on the bottom I think are Freckled Fawn, and the ones on the top might be Simple Stories. I'm not really sure. In any case, I love those. I love the combination of epoxy and wood. So I do like spreading those around. And for some reason, I have a ton of those that are fall themed. Now I am adding in some little white leaves, and I had those on my desk. I had cut those out for another layout, so I thought those were a nice addition. And now I'm putting some photo quarters on my page. I have a couple of photo corner punches from EK Success. I really love photo corners. I feel like the page isn't complete often without photo corners, so I do use them on a lot of layouts, not all of them. And once I have everything attached down, as a final touch, I decided to add a little bit of gold color to the word gratitude, and I used some Deco Art Metallic Luster in Gold Rush, and I thought that would make it match in a little bit better with the layout rather than just being flat brown. And that finishes up the layout. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope if you like this video, you will give it a thumbs up. And thank you to my current subscribers. And if you're not a current subscriber, I hope you'll consider subscribing. I hope everybody has a fantastic day. And I will be back soon with some more process videos. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.